First, the top news headlines. Voting for election of 15 President of India concludes votes of 4,800 MPs, MLAs to decide fate of candidates Draupadi Murmu and Yashwant Sinha. Rajya Sabha adjourned for the day on first day of monsoon session amid protests by opposition. SC directs states to pay compensation to family members of COVID-19 victims without wasting time. Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the MAMI TV English News Bulletin. I'm ALBINA RIAMEI. Voting for election of the 15th President of India concluded at 5 this evening. 4,800 elected MPs and MLAs across the country cast their votes for the candidates Draupadi Murmu and Yashwant Sinha. The term for the current President of India, Ramnath Kovind, will end on July 24. In the state, the casting of vote began at 10 a.m. and ended at 5 p.m. at Manipur Legislative Assembly Hall. A total of 60 MLAs and elected MPs cast their votes. The MPs cast their votes on green ballot box and MLAs on pink color ballot box. Later, the ballot boxes will be shifted to New Delhi for counting on July 21. Draupadi Murmu is the NDA's candidate while Yashwant Sinha is the opposition's pick. The value of an MLA vote depends on the population of the state he or she represents. The value of the vote of an MP this time is 700. The value of one MLA vote equals 18 votes. However, nominated MP and MLA cannot cast their votes. Hence, the different colors of ballot papers will help the returning officer count the votes based on the value. The votes of 60 MLAs of Manipur will be equivalent to 1,800 votes. It may be mentioned that 23 MLAs of different political parties of the state have extended their support to BJP, which has 32 MLAs. Meanwhile, there are only 5 Congress MLAs in the state. Rajya Sabha proceedings were adjourned for the day on the first day of the monsoon session today following sloganeering and disruption by Congress MPs over issues like price rise and GST. Earlier, several newly elected members of the upper house took oath. As Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu was making some observations, several Congress members trooped into the well of the house and started raising slogans. As some people have come determined not to allow the house to function and also enable members to go and vote in the presidential election, the chairman said as he adjourned the proceedings. Earlier, the house paid respect to former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, ex-UAE President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and former Kenyan President Mwai Kibaki. Obituaries were also paid to former members Kishore Kumar Mohanty, Robert Kershing, K.K. Veerapant, and Santur player Pandit Shivkumar Sharma. Now we have a short commercial break. Stay tuned for more updates.
Welcome you all to UNACO Residential School at Chanung, Imphal East. An exclusive co-education residential school located on a sprawling 50-acre campus will be affiliated to CBSE New Delhi. First academic session will begin in April 2023 for classes 4 to 8. Hurry up for registration.
ट्रैफिक के नियम सिंह
Welcome back. The Supreme Court today directed all states and union territories to ensure payment of compensation to family members of COVID victims without wasting any time. A bench of Justices Amar Shah and B. V. Nagaratna, said that if any claimant has grievance with respect to the non-payment of compensation or rejection of their claim, then they may approach the Grievance Redressal Committee concerned. It also directed the Grievance Redressal Committee to decide the application of the claimant within 4 weeks. Advocate Gaurav Bansal, appearing for petitioner Pala Srinivasa Rao, had submitted that Andhra Pradesh has diverted funds from the SDRF to personal deposit account, which is not permissible under the Disaster Management Act. He had alleged that the state government was illegally utilizing the funds of the SDRF for purposes other than specified under Section 46(2) of the Disaster Management Act 2005. Imphal East District VDF Gurjan Association staged a protest demonstration at Green Community Hall on DC Road, Porompat today, demanding the government to fulfill long-standing demands of Village Defence Force (VDF) for more than 13 years. Family members of VFF personnel also took part in the sit-in. Speaking to media persons, a guardian of a BDF personnel, Sinam Amutombi, said the mega amount of salary of rupees 8,500 is very hard for a BDF personnel to make ends meet. As such, she appealed to the government to provide the honorarium on time, asserting that the failure of the government to provide their honorarium for a long time is violation of people's rights. She maintained that the present government must be held responsible if the BDF personnel resorted to an extreme step or a wrong path.
Jasingi BDF ki awaba se ngasi ki pali balengak na amukang di puning chingsing birega awaba se ko on biu haidana mama ma oina thogang thi ajaraga ngasi di bifam the yaujarabani ngasi amukta di sakana pali ba lengak na nusi biduna BDF ki awaba isa mayam thi ki amukta di yingsin biu koi bo mukta di ngai ba pina biu haiba se thamjaraga ne ai tension jarage mayam na haidan mayam leirabani mamang da so sida koi kap anata na isa gi dam ta koi kap anata na karim ta upai leitere ko ji lengak na yingsin bi drabadi lengak na yingsin bi wo haiba wa pham te thamjaraga ne ima hoi nga si da na si thamjari bi si.
Various placards demanding official reward, BDF service book, etc. were displayed during the protests. Properties of around 10 lakh rupees were destroyed in a fire at residence of one LN Midun, age 30, at Liwa Maring village in Chandal district that broke out yesterday around 11 a.m. A child from the village informed them about the fire while he and his family were offering Sunday prayers at the church. Everyone present at the church helped to douse the fire but could not save the house as it was built with wood and tin roofing. However, they managed to put out the fire before it spread to other neighboring houses. The team of Chandal Fire Services could not reach on the spot in time as a fire service vehicle could not drive up the steep hilltop. The unfortunate incident damaged 60 paddy containers, 2 rice bags, a motorbike, TV set, inverter with battery, books and other properties along with a sum of 40,000 rupees.
Khalejaba ai gari macha amadi inverter TV adagi kitchen set loina chakre duga cheng su duga phau kha thamjaba su loina chakre dana paisa na case oina 1,30,000 mukti yaukre aina saving tawjaba adu mai su mayam na nungsibra government na nungsibiraga engonda mating pibiu haina.
All Manipur Women's Social Reformation and Development Samaj, Nupi Samaj, has said formation of a stringent anti-drug law is vital to uproot the drug problems in the state. She said this during a one-day discussion on drugs in today's society, jointly organized by Nupi Samaj, Chanung Kanglei Park Chanura Loop, Kanglei Sinta Loop and Chanung Development Committee yesterday, held at Chanung Mayai Lekai Community Hall. Speaking on the occasion, General Secretary of Nupi Samaj, K. Sobita, said Nupi Samaj has been organizing awareness program against drugs in different places of the state to give the message on the impact of drugs to the women in the society. Even though the state is declared as a dry state, alcohol is still easily available in the state. The state government has failed to successfully implement the law against alcohol, resulting in various problems, she said. As the state has failed to implement a stringent anti-drug law, buying and selling of drugs have increased rapidly in the state. This has raised a concern of wiping out the future generation. Hence, Sobita has drawn the attention of the state government to give capital punishment for such offenders. Former MLA of Kakching Assembly constituency Yankom Thambal passed away this morning. Thambal, age 94, passed away at his residence this morning. He was born in 1928 and the second child of late Yankom Yaima and Yankom Ongbi Kritimala. He was elected as the MLA of Kakching AC in the election to the 4th Manipur State Assembly as an independent candidate in 1985. A one-day workshop on Manipuri traditional drum entitled Lairembi Dumend was held yesterday at the Community Hall of Atokpam Kunau, organized by the Atokpam Kunau Art and Culture Academy under the sponsorship of the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. The workshop was organized to revive the age-old tradition and culture of different communities by the Ministry of Culture. MLA of Khangabok Assembly constituency, O. Sujakumar, National Secretary of Dalit Sahitya Academy Manipur, Y. Mahendra, and Pradhan of Khangabok Part 1, Pradhan Ningthaujam Mala, attended the workshop as the presidium members. As part of the workshop, the artists of the Atokpam Kunau Art and Culture Academy showcased Lairembi Dumend performance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today voted in the presidential election that began at 10 a.m. today. MPs have also queued up in the parliament and cast their vote to elect the 15th President of India. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was also seen in a wheelchair when he came to cast his vote. State MLAs who are also part of the Electoral College cast their votes from their state assemblies. NDA candidate Draupadi Murmu is set for a comfortable win, which will make her the first tribal president of the country. Murmu is expected to back around 62% of the total votes, as several regional parties have also announced their support for her candidature. Former Union Minister Yaswant Sinha is the joint opposition against Ms. Murmu. The new parliament will take oath on July 25. The National Democratic Alliance NDA Vice Presidential candidate Jagdeep Dhankar filed his nomination papers today, flanked by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and top BJP leaders. After arriving at the Parliament Library building to file his nomination, Jagdeep Dhankar was joined by Prime Minister Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, BJP National President JP Nadda and other Saffron Party leaders. Prior to this, 71-year-old Dhankar was serving as a governor of West Bengal, a tenure marked by frequent run-ins with Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and her ruling Trinamool Congress. He stepped down as governor after he was chosen to be NDA's nominee for the second highest constitutional post in the country. The tricolour will be hoisted atop more than 20 crore houses across the country for 3 days next month under the central government Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. According to an official statement, Union Home Minister Amit Shah reviewed the preparations of the campaign to be carried out under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav with chief ministers of states and lieutenant governors and administrators of union territories on Sunday, it said. As part of the program, the tricolour will be flown atop the houses from August 13 to 15 through public participation, while government and private establishments will also be involved, the statement said. Over 100 crore people will participate in the campaign to rededicate themselves to the service of Mother India. It will greatly contribute in inculcating a new sense of patriotism among people, it said. According to the statement, Shah said that from July 22, the national flag should appear on the homepage of all state government websites, while citizens should also encourage to display tricolour on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and other social media accounts. He said Prime Minister Narendra Modi has decided to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in a new way, and Har Ghar Tiranga campaign will take the spirit of patriotism to the highest level, the statement said. The central government has made arrangements for the production of 3 types of flags, and they will be available at post offices, and people would also be able to buy the tricolour online, it said. At least 13 people were killed and several others were injured after a bus plunged into the Narmada River in the Dhar district, Madhya Pradesh, today morning. The Maharashtra Roadways bus was going from Indore to Pune when the accident took place. The Pune-bound bus fell off the Khalghat Sanjay Situ after crashing into a railing of the bridge in Dhar. About 40 people were on board the bus and 13 bodies have been recovered so far. Narottam Mishra, Madhya Pradesh Home Minister, said nearly 15 people have been rescued so far. The MP CM also telephoned his Maharashtra counterpart Eknath Shinde and apprised him of the current situation at the accident site. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed sadness over the bus tragedy in Dhar, Madhya Pradesh, and asserted that his thoughts are with those who have lost their loved ones. Ghana has officially confirmed 2 cases of the Marburg virus, a highly infectious disease similar to Ebola, its health service said on Sunday, after 2 people who died later tested positive for the virus earlier this month. Tests conducted in Ghana came back positive on July 10, but the results had to be verified by a laboratory in Senegal for the cases to be considered confirmed, according to the World Health Organization. Ghana Health Service (GHS) is working to reduce any risks of the virus spreading, including the isolation of all identified contacts, none of whom have developed any symptoms so far, it said. This is only the second outbreak of Marburg in West Africa. The first ever case of the virus in the region was detected last year in Guinea, with no further cases identified. The 2 patients in southern Ghana's Ashanti region both had symptoms including diarrhea, fever, nausea and vomiting before dying in hospital, WHO said. Before we end the bulletin, let's look at the top news headlines once again. Voting for election of 15th President of India concludes. Votes of 4,800 MPs, MLAs to decide fate of candidates Draupadi Murmu and Yashwant Sinha. Rajya Sabha adjourned for the day on first day of monsoon session amid protests by opposition.
Miyam pumnamakini lambi